It's very late. Uh, Odds are pretty good that I am not going to stay up for a super long time and be therapist for everybody here tonight. But uh, like I do see a handful of people up. Like it's 3:45 in the morning over here in Atlanta, which is where I'm from. Um, and you would think that at 3:45 in the morning, everybody would be asleep and everybody would have something better to do. But like it seems pretty obvious to me that we don't all have something better to do tonight. Maybe to some extent we are posting and thinking about uh, the protests that are happening just internationally, uh, or at least across the country. Although I have heard about like stuff happening in Montreal and all that. This is not going to be like a super entertaining stream. I'm not like on making the content, being entertaining. Apple Juice Gang. Hey Sarah. What's up? I don't really have plans to be super entertaining watching my viewer numbers going down. I'm gonna just talk about like how I feel. And maybe other people will feel like chiming in because it's 3:45 in the morning and I'm hearing a lot of like engagement, a lot of people talking about these things. So yeah, I'm just gonna let it rock. Probably the thing that's on my mind more than anything else is our mayor, who got here and got universal praise from the press and from the media by shushing all of these bad protesters and telling them that they've got to bring it in. Like she's doing the mom voice. You have got to stop this right now. And whenever it's like a black politician that's like chiding black people, black protesters, and to be clear, there were a lot of white protesters too. Yo, there were a lot of white protesters too, but whenever a black politician like has that ability to take on like something that's associated as a black protest in people's minds, that's a free win for them. They get so hyped up. They come out there, you feel like the theme music is playing in the background. Oh yeah, I get to fucking talk down to these black kids. They love that shit. And you can tell their attitudes when they have that microphone. And Keisha Bottoms, who's like a Biden supporter. Here's Sierra. I was at the protest today, left around 6 before they burnt the car. Keisha exposed herself. Aqua, what's the theme song for the Proud Boys? I have no idea. But I know that black politicians get real hype when it's time to talk down to black folks. The tone and the voice changes, the bass come out, they start talking like this. Like they are weirdly excited to do it. And in doing so, they tend to say things that are just objectively ridiculous, that are just on the face ridiculous. And this is kind of like what our black political class has led us to, because there's so little tangibly that can be offered within the system that the things that are being offered are like thinner and thinner and thinner slices, to the point that there's nothing between the two pieces of bread now. So for those who didn't hear about any of this, yeah, she was kicking it like, oh, if you really want real change, you need to go out and vote. We have a runoff next month and we have elections on November. And by the way, Keisha already endorsed Joe Biden. Like, so like that's what she's like. If you really want to change these things up, go vote for Biden. If you're thinking of this problem as like a Biden versus Trump problem, if you're thinking of this shit as a Democrat versus Republican problem, you have not like engaged with the news at all. You have not engaged with what's happening at all, because this shit that's happening in Minneapolis, what party is the mayor of Minneapolis? It's a Democrat, right? What party is the governor of Minnesota? It's a Democrat, right? It's all team blue all the way down. And when Malcolm X like wrote about Black liberation, I mean, he was writing about it from a northern state. Why? One of the reasons why he was so skeptical of like white liberals was because he was in white liberal cities during his youth and during his adulthood and when he got out of prison. I mean, it's not like he spent a whole bunch of time in the South. So he had all of that legal shield, that legal cover, that outward feeling of mobility and equality, and understood that your situation is the same because of the underpinning structure. If the underpinning structure is left untouched, then the structural problem remains untouched. So when we talk about, oh, go out and vote, okay, well, we voted. Keisha Lance Bottoms, you're the mayor of Atlanta right now. You are the mayor. You literally are the mayor in charge of the city. And the chief of Atlanta Police Department, this is also true, was out in the streets going in there, and we can argue and discuss about like it being fake and it being PR. But however, the police chief did have the dignity to go out and do PR and go, oh, I see you. I hear you. You're valid. And Keisha wasn't doing none of that. Like, but she was on the phone with Brian Kemp. As soon as she left off of Channel 2 and left off of CNN, it was on the phone to the governor, who, they get out on TV and they say, oh, you've got to go vote for change. But once the camera goes off, it's back to business as usual. And she's calling her colleague to come out here and swoop these people away. And Kemp is calling in the National Guard as we speak. So it's a shit show. It's a shit show. More on just that topic of voting. So you've already voted. You voted. You got a mayor. Okay, you voted and you got a district attorney. What is the platform of the district attorney? Is there a district attorney that's running with a platform that's going to stop these things from happening? Is there somebody running for governor with a platform to stop these things from happening? My face is so shiny right now. It's ridiculous. It's a very hot day. The summer's happening. It's only getting worse from here. So y'all got to excuse me on that one. But yeah, there is the problem is something where solutions don't exist inside our electoral system. It's not like something like Medicare for all, where it's like, well, you're getting sick, you're dying, go vote, and your peers will also vote, and there'll be a choice, and you can vote for healthcare, and we can talk about whether the rich will let you vote money out of their pockets, right? But theoretically, you can go and you can vote for healthcare. How can you vote to end police brutality? That's because that's an intersection of so many modes of oppression. That's who your police chief is. It's who your mayor is. It's who your governor is. It's who your DA is. It's just this very heavy confluence of people who all work in concert to like protect the people who do these acts. Right? Am I making sense? So given that, what are we voting for? It's not something to vote for. It's something that requires just a complete stem to root change. So how you do that democratically, I don't have the answers for that. But we obviously need a complete change in institutions. So voting for like a different face for these institutions is not gonna matter, especially when you're talking about Atlanta. You're talking about a black city. Okay, we've had black mayors, black police chiefs, black president. We had Eric Holder, black AG. So what is missing? What is like what in this link? If it's just about, well, we gotta vote and get a nice person in there. The problem is the funding for elections. It's the ability to keep your job, right? So telling people in that moment, telling them today, well, just go out and vote, knowing that that's not actually going to do anything. And if you're a savvy political person, you understand there's nothing. What is happening at the fucking runoff a month from now during fucking COVID that's going to end police brutality? What the fuck? Like there's no vote that's going to do shit for that. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And there's been looting, and that's like our line of moral good and evil. Look, if y'all are so excited about this fucking property, why not go make arrests before it's a must? Make arrests before shit gets torn up. Make arrests before people start rioting. And that way, damn, Croker will be in perfect shape. The The AutoZone would be fine. Arby's would be not on fire, and Arby's is so important. So yeah, it's fucking bum ass. It sucks. Almost more than the actual violence. I'm disappointed at like the leadership, which almost nobody is talking about this in the right terms. You know, they're talking about it like they've got the press release and it's already designed for the same shit to happen again and again. It's like a form letter, when somebody dies and they send you like a Hallmark card. So when Joe Biden tweets like, enough, this is wrong, or when Joe Kennedy goes out and says, we can't say all lives matter, and and then treat certain groups of people in certain ways that may be perceived as unjust, like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There's no specificity. There's no willingness to even be the person to vote for, where voting would change this. And I can only think of a handful of people running for district attorney that have ever mentioned the carceral state, that have mentioned the militarization of police, that have mentioned like wanting to take those kinds of fights on. And those people, you will know them because they will have many, many enemies. When the police unions don't fuck with you, and when you are willing to play along, you make statements like, we can't say all lives matter, and treat certain lives like they don't matter as much. Let me link y'all to this. This is very weird. And y'all tell me, is this a real thing that's happening here? Or is this a real child? This is like a police training exercise. So I'm trying to figure out, is this really just, they've made like a baby-sized outfit for this? Is this a woman that's like 4'10" and it's just like, I can do it? Or is this someone's kid, like someone's MAGA chud kid? Or is it maybe like a MAGA chud family and they've got like two, because these could pass as two big kids on the right? Like they could be just like two big MAGA chud kids, and they have some MAGA chud, like a little brother, and then the little girl is just there in the middle, and she don't want to be left out. I've been trying to figure this shit out. It feels like it must be legit because there's so many cars in the background that have lights equipped. So I believe it's got to be an official police something, because if it was just a cosplayer, why would they have multiple vehicles? That shit's weird as hell. I don't want to believe that they're actually putting kids out there at Lenox Mall. Like that seems ridiculous. But it also seems ridiculous that you would take like a 4'10" woman and put her in riot gear. Like a 4'10" woman in riot gear. 4'10" anybody in riot gear. So nobody says like, well, I know, but come on, be for real. If people can take a police precinct, they can take an ICE detention center. The heat. Let me tell you, I thought about that too. The problem is like, I feel like that the ICE is a federal thing. So the federal people are like less hesitant about, just like if there was a row of people, I feel like they would just attempt to mow those people down. But the stuff that's going on with ICE and child trafficking, that shit's we haven't even scratched the surface of that. I feel like the media hasn't scratched the surface of it. Like these kids have been disappeared. They've been like kidnapped from their parents. It's a seriously fucked situation. And I think it'll be many, many years before we actually get to the bottom of that situation. I think we'll be seeing kids from this pop up like 5 or 6 years from now. Good Lord. So, yeah, really. I think we should all be like thrilled that the riots, the property damage, has been as little as they have been because man, if people were really like acting as upset as they are, if you hadn't like bred all this civility into people, it would be a much more dangerous situation, man. It would be a much wilder situation. When you think about like all the areas in Atlanta and people stayed out in front of CNN Center, y'all ought to be grateful it was just CNN Center and a couple of windows inside CNN Center because like anybody who's been to Atlanta knows it's very easy to get anywhere downtown. If you have like a dozen people, you can get anywhere. Um, it's tiring, man. It's frustrating. I don't know why I got up here at 4 in the morning to talk about this shit for like 20 minutes, but man, I'm paying for this damn service. I'm dropping my 50 a damn month, too much money. So I might as well just get out here and kick it when I am bored or annoyed. And this is an bored and annoyed doesn't really obviously explain the situation. It doesn't encapsulate the situation, but um I don't know. I just figured there are people up and there are people watching. I see like a handful of y'all. So I hope that hearing from me uh made this a little more real and maybe like took your mind somewhere where it can go to sleep. And hopefully we'll be hanging out with Donna Sunday. Maybe she'll put a positive spin on all this. Yeah, it's a mess, man. I'm bummed. But let's all be bummed together. Hard times don't last. I tell people that all the time. And unfortunately, like this time won't last either. And there'll be a new struggle to fight. So just keep your head up and yeah, we'll do this again later. I wish I had a more inspirational sign out, but like, damn, I'm tired. Ain't you tired? I'm tired. Yeah, so yeah.